All right, everyone. So in today's episode, we're going to do a deep dive into VVPR. This stock ended up squeezing up, well, gosh, at the open, it was gapping up 287%, and it squeezed even higher as the day went on. This was the leading gapper in the entire stock market today. Okay, so it had news, it had a catalyst, and that's what brought in the momentum, that's what brought in the volume, and that's what sent this stock from about $1.50 all the way up to over $7 a share. All right, these are huge moves. My goal for you is that by watching these case studies, you're able to better understand the dynamics of how these stocks trade. So the next time we have a stock that pops up like this, you'll be able to capitalize on it perhaps better than you were able to today. Because here's the thing about the market. These patterns repeat themselves. We see it again and again and again. So much so that there is a strategy designed around trading these types of stocks, which is a strategy, of course, that I'm trading every single day. All right, so let's start high level, and then we'll get zoomed in on each of my trades from today. So this is a case study on VVPR, and I always like to start the same way, which is step one. First, I have to find the stock. So VVPR, as you can see here, is on my top gainers scanner. This is a stock scanner that is searching the entire stock market for stocks over 50 cents a share. So that's just the minimum criteria, 50 cents a share. If the stock is over 50 cents a share, and it's up at least 4%, it's going to be on this scanner. So those are the minimum criteria, and VVPR, of course, met both of those criteria. So because it's the leading percentage gainer, there's a lot of traders who just, sit down each morning and they look at the scan and they're looking at the top, 3 or 4 gainers. So VVPR, AINC, XTIA, and I traded all 3 of these. I also traded ADTX and a couple others. I didn't trade PIC. I didn't trade this one. I didn't trade this one, which I can talk about. I can explain why in a second. But nonetheless, most traders sit down and look at the leading gainers each day. So once VVPR was the leading gainer, and once it was up over 109%, it was the leading gainer. At that point, I knew it was a stock that was going to get a lot of attention. Now, between being up 4% and being up 100%, it's a little lower on the scan, maybe down here, but starting to move up. So that's usually when I first see these types of stocks. So what I was actually looking at this morning at about 8:15 was my small cap high a day momentum scanner. This is a scanner that's kind of like radar. It's searching the market in real time for stocks that are moving. And when a stock is hitting a new high, as long as it meets my criteria, it will give me an alert. And it includes an audio alert. So I'll hear, oh my gosh, okay, there's something moving. I better come over and look at what that is. Especially if I'm sort of focusing on something else at that moment. So when VVPR first hit my scanner, it was about 8:15 a.m. We'll go all the way back here to the beginning of this move. So way back here, all of a sudden, this thing pops up. This is about 8:19 that it started to pop up. It pops up here, it squeezes up to 240. It does a little pullback, and it pushes all the way up to 3. Now, there was a problem with the chart. When I first pulled up the chart, so step one is figuring out figuring out there's a stock even moving. And that's using the scanners. Step 2 is trying to understand the catalyst. And I saw the news desk had a post about a merger agreement. So I was like, okay, we've got a catalyst on this. So then the next step is analyzing the chart. And I checked first the daily chart. Now in this stock, we had a problem, which is that the 200 moving average was right at $3. $3 a share right here. So this I felt would be resistance for this stock. And that is typically the case. So as it started to squeeze up, that was the first thing I was looking at. I was like, well, we've got the 200 right there. It's going to block this move. So on my first trade, and as I was pulling it up, I saw it come up to 3, and I was like, I'm not going to buy it here. This is like basically right where the 200 moving average is on the daily chart. It drops all the way back down to 217 on pretty high selling volume. And I was like, shoot. All right. Well, I don't know. Maybe this one's all done. But it kind of starts to curl right here up to 260, up to 270. And it comes up here to about 289. It pulls back. And right here, I said, you know what? I'm going to take a trade on this. I feel like at this point, it looks like it has sort of reset and it's got the potential to get through $3. So let's see if it can do it. There was some resistance at 3. It hits 305 and it pulls back. So on my first trade, I actually lost. On my first trade on it, I got in and I got back out for a small loss. It was about $200 loss. It drops down. It comes back up here and I got right back in. I was like, look, hey, you take a loss, you fall off the horse, you get back on. So I got back in here and it goes to 320 and I'm like, good. And then it pops here up to a high of 330. And then it flushes 297. So I took some profit. I got out. It was a small winner. And then it starts to pull away again. And I was like, all right, I'm going to get back in here at 330. It goes up to 330, 340, 350, and squeezes here up to 390. Then it goes, now at this point, I'm like, what in the world is happening? It goes up to 420. It pulls back. We get a nice dip, and it surges right here. So it double tops here at about 420. It pulls back, and then it pushes higher. Now, the way I traded this, so we ended up squeezing all the way up here to a high, as you'll see, of about 560. This was our high of day. So this was my strategy for today. For today, I said, I'm going to start the day with a cap of 5,000 shares until I can make over $1,000 bucks. That's my first goal, is to cross over $1,000 of profit. So as I began the day, I had my max share size set at 5,001 share. So I could take the max position of 5,000 shares. And I said, I'm going to keep it that way until I make $1,000 bucks. And on my first trade, I lost $200 and what it was like $280 or something like that. So $270, something like that. So first trade was red. I'll start the line down here. So first trade, I went down 200 bucks. Second trade, I made about 100 bucks. Okay, not that exciting. Still red on the day. Third trade, I made like 200. So I'm barely green on the day. I haven't hit $1,000 of profit, which is my first goal. So 1,000 is sort of the first goal. And then on VVPR, I got like a $300 winner, and then I got, a $500 winner, and then all of a sudden I was at 1,100. So as soon as I crossed over $1,000, I increased my max share size to 10,000 shares. So I'm going to up the share size right here. And at this point, I pretty quickly went from up 1,100 to up 2,200 to up 2,800 to up 3,800 and to up to a peak of $4,800. Now my daily goal is 5,000. So as soon as I got close to the daily goal, it just so happened that I kind of felt like my winners were getting smaller and we were sort of getting to a point where VVPR was pulling back. And I ended up taking a couple more trades and giving back a little bit of profit here and finishing the day at $3,000. I think it was $3,200, right around here, which is still a pretty good day. A little bit off my peak, but still a pretty solid day. And it was actually at this point that I said, let's reduce my share size back down to 5,000 shares. I'm going to reduce it back down to 5,000 shares for the rest of the day. Now, I still gave back some profit, but it's a good thing that I reduced my size because I would have given back a lot more. So my share size kind of went like this. So small size, increasing size, and then decreasing size towards the end of the day. So that was my strategy. Now, it played out pretty much perfectly. I mean, with the exception that I gave back a little bit of profit, but that's bound to happen and that's okay. And it was manageable. So my problem on VVPR was that it was kind of choppy. We had this candle right here where we had this rejection. We had this candle right here where we came up to 305 and then we sort of flushed back down, which, I just sort of thought we were going to punch through there, but there were a lot of sellers there at 305. So we sort of had the first rejection, another little rejection, another rejection, this rejection candle, and then we squeeze up a little topping tail here, and then we push higher. Nice bottoming tail, but then we weren't able to pull away right here, so we had resistance at about 420. It sells off, it comes back up, and I traded a couple times in here, and I was just getting stopped out. It dips back down, it comes back up, then it pulls away, but not by a lot. And then it comes back down again. And then it sells off a bit more. And this is where we can now connect this trend line right here from these two lows. Then it finally pushes up higher, pulls back, squeezes a little higher, bigger rejection, back up, back down, back up. So this is where it started to get kind of choppy. And I was like, man, I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm feeling it right now. So that was pre-market, which was, the biggest move. But even through this move, it was easy to get chopped out. And I did get stopped out a couple times, and then it, went right a moment later. Tops here, pulls back. And coming into the open, I was like, I don't know. I'm really not sure if this is going to work. So then let's look at the price action right here at 544. We've got this big rejection candle, and we've got another one right here. So let's look at the 10-second chart. At the open, so we come into the open, and it sells off, and then it kind of curls back up right here. So through here, I was like, okay, it looks like we're going to break through 550, the pre-market high. And look at what happens. It goes to 549 and then jackknives all the way down to like 480. And then it rallies back up. It punches higher. It drops down. And so I took this trade and I lost on it. Not a lot, but with small size, it was still a loss. And then it kind of starts to pull away. I got back in here. It barely breaks. It pulls back. It kind of punches higher. And I was just like, what is going on with this stock? Then it pulls away here up to 7. And I was like, oh my gosh, I missed that move. Then it goes sideways here. It comes back up. I try to get in for the break of 7. I get stopped out at like 655. So stopped out again. I was like, wow, this is getting a little obnoxious. It comes back up, flushes again. It comes back up, it flushes again. It comes back up, it flushes again. It comes back up, it flushes again. It comes back up, and holy smokes. This thing rips to 760 and then dumps to $6 in an instant. Over 1 million shares of volume in that candle. That shook out a lot of traders. There are a lot of people that were buying off of support here for this final breakout and looking for that move higher. And maybe some of them got out, but probably not, because it was very quick, and then it jackknifes back down. So I would say the moral of the story on this stock was that the easiest trades were at the beginning of the move. The easiest trades right here were on the first leg of the move before MACD crossed over. And once MACD crossed over, even though it crossed again to the upside back here, it never got as clean as it was right there. Yes, this stretch was pretty nice, but it was just after this jackknife reversal, so it was hard to trust, and I didn't trade it well. So it ends up squeezing up here to a high and then pulling back. So, the fact is, I honestly think that VVPR was a pretty difficult stock to trade in a lot of ways. Nice in the very first beginning of the move, and that's where I did the best on it, and then I just sort of started giving back profit on it. Now, I ended up switching gears, and we had another stock that came up, which was ADTX. ADTX popped up, hit the scans at about 450 right here. It sold off. It comes back up, and I got in it at 450 right here, and we got a move on this up to 560. So that was pretty nice. That was $1 a share on that move. So that made up for giving back some profit on VVPR. And then, I guess those were the two stocks that I traded that I did the best on. But my first trade of the day, and so here's my P&L, 3,200 on the day. First trade of the day was on XTIA. Second trade was on AINC. And third trade was on IMNN. So, once these 3 trades were done, not including ZZOO, I was still only up like $300. So I was like, nope, not going to increase my share size yet. Need to wait. But once I got in on VVPR, that put me over 1,000, and then I started to scale up. And from that point, then I got ADTX, and then I got a small trade on CZOO, but it was a small loss. So I'm a little bit, I gave back 1,600 off the top. That's 30%. It's a little more than I'd prefer. But I'm glad I reduced my share size to mitigate the risk. I got a little frustrated today, And, it's frustrating. It's frustrating when you have, 3, 4, 5 times in a row where you get stopped out and then you watch the stock squeeze. So I got a little frustrated, and I think it's important for me to walk away and call it a day because, like I said yesterday, if you recall yesterday, I gave back a little bit of profit off the top as well. I was up about 6,000 and finished at 4,900. So 1,100 off the top, and I felt a little annoyed about it. But, now, of course, it's like, well, hey, it's still like a $5,000 green day. That's a solid green day. And it doesn't take that long for me to, get over giving back a little bit off the top because I'm still walking away with profit in my pocket. What's very difficult is when you give back so much, you go from green to red. You had something and now all of it is gone. You have nothing. You have a loss. That is a big trigger for me. And that's harder to get over. It's hard to recover from that emotionally. So today's a day where I did give back a little more than I'd like, but I'm walking away in the green. Second day here of the month. So starting a new month, just about 5,000 yesterday, 3,000 today. So that's $8,000 in the green on the month, 2 days in, off to a good start, averaging 4,000 a day. So just need to keep it up. And I'm going to keep continuing with the same strategy of starting with small size. Once I get up over 1,000, leaning in. Today, I actually thought I might never get to size. I might not get a chance to size up today. And if it weren't for VVPR, I probably wouldn't have. Because on those first 3 trades, I was only up a couple $100. Doesn't justify scaling up. It's not happening. And then finally, we ended up getting one at 8:15 or so that started to move. But yesterday, the window started earlier. It started at 7:15. That was that was the beginning of the big move yesterday. It was at 7:15. And by 8:30, I was already in great shape. So today I was a little bit behind that schedule. Which made the window a little bit smaller because I still knew coming up towards 10 a.m. that I'd have to ease off of share size and scale back down because if I took a big loss, I wouldn't have time to recoup it. So fortunately today, unfortunately, I did still give back a little bit, but we at least had a stock that popped up and gave us some action. So VVPR still hanging out up 330%. That's great to see. I'm very happy with that. Now, I didn't trade PIK. This one, unfortunately, it made a big move that started after hours, and pre-market, it was already sort of selling off. So there was really no chart there for me to work with. LIFW was on the scans, a little too cheap at 85 cents. Also started after hours, pre-market was selling off. So no interest in that. XTIA was the leading gapper pre-market when I sat down at about 7 a.m. It had just made this nice move, but then started to form this head and shoulders pattern. So it kind of looks like a ghost here. Ooh, spooky. So sort of, pulling back there. So anyways, no trades on that. ADTX, this one's now up only 19%. So it's pulled back a little bit. CZOO, first daily candle to make a new high. I liked the idea of it. I tried to buy it at 1050. My order got rejected. It halted up. I tried to do a dip with 500 shares a little higher and lost $88. So, nothing really exciting there. But whatever, that's okay. Today was a green day, and I'm going to live to trade another day. So I'll be back at it first thing tomorrow morning. The goal, as I said at the beginning of the month, is to try to build a cushion. Just like my goal at the beginning of the day is to try to build a cushion. That's the same at the beginning of the month. Once I start to build a cushion, then it feels like, the wind's at my back. I'm kind of pointing in the right direction, and now I just have to maintain. So getting the month off to a good start is always helpful. Now, if you made a mistake and you're already red on the month, don't worry, it's not too late to do a course correct. You can still turn it around. So what I would encourage is starting tomorrow by focusing on whatever your daily goal is. If it's $100, if it's $1,000, whatever your daily goal is, if it's $10,000, probably it's not 10,000, but whatever your daily goal is, I would first say, start with smaller share size until you get about a quarter of that goal, which is about what I'm doing, right? So, I guess it's a little less than, it's a fifth, $1,000 versus my $5,000 daily goal. But, so if your daily goal is 1,000, say with small size until you're up like $250. And then once you're up 250, then it's like, okay, and I did that in like 2 trades. All right, now I can increase my share size. Now I'm getting comfortable. But break the ice, get comfortable first. One of the mistakes that I made a lot last month was I went in on my first trade with full size. And the problem with doing that was that, well, of course, the good side with doing that is if it was a winner, I was like up to my daily goal in one trade. But the downside was that I was losing max loss in one trade if it went wrong. You know, with 10, 15, 20,000 shares, I'd lose 20 cents. I'd be down 4 grand. And now all of a sudden my daily loss is 5,000 max loss. So that was too big. In a hot market like what we had in February, it made sense to be more aggressive right out of the starting gates. But in a colder market, you got to be a little more conservative. And at the beginning of the month, it's important to build that cushion. And so you got to be a little more conservative as you're doing that. So I hope that is helpful for you. Again, my goal with these case studies is to present them in this way to help you better understand the dynamics of these moves so you can capitalize on them better the next time you see them, because we keep seeing these stocks hitting the scanner and going up, 75, 100% and more. So I'm sure that we will see something like this happen again this week. I'm going to be streaming every single day for Warrior Pro members. I'm kind of rain or shine. I show up, whether it's a hot market or cold market, but I show up, I look for opportunities, and I trade the volatility. So hopefully we have more of it this week. I think we will, given what we've seen so far. And I hope you guys are able to capitalize on it in your own trading. So thanks as always for tuning in. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. I hope you subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you for my next upload real soon.